This is Lauren Burke. This is Lauren Live, and it is 8:14 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Last night, there was news where President Trump criticized Israel. That really caught a ton of people off guard in a big way.
From the US President Donald Trump, and a rare rebuke of Israel from the US President. Donald Trump says he knew nothing about Israeli attacks on Iran's South Pars gas field, the largest in the world. The president posted on social media, "No more attack will be made by Israel on the area unless Tehran retaliates against Qatar," which of course shares the gas field.
Now that thing that's on the screen right there, I'll read that after the intro. I'm just gonna play the intro a little bit and I'll come back. I just have to check the sound. But that is huge news. That is a major rebuke from Trump of Netanyahu. What? That's amazing. Yeah, and so here it is. We're about to hit another moment where gas prices are going to skyrocket, and just as that's happening, Donald Trump puts out some major message on his social media platform last night, and this is what he writes: Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major. One second, let me just turn off the nonsense here. Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. A relatively small section of the whole has been hit. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and the country of Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea that it was going to happen. Unfortunately, Iran did not know this or any of the pertinent facts pertaining to the South Pars attack, and unjustifiably and unfairly attacked a portion of Qatar's LNG gas facility. This is what happens during wars. This is what happens during wars. Unpredictable, crazy violence happens during wars. What a shock. No more attacks will be made by Israel pertaining to this extremely important and valuable South Pars field unless Iran unwisely decides to attack a very innocent, in this case, Qatar, in which instance the United States of America, with or without the help or consent of Israel, will massively blow up the entire, and it will massively blow up in the entirety of the South Pars gas field at an amount of strength and power that Iran has never seen or witnessed before. I wonder, that sounded to me like a nuclear threat, but hopefully it isn't. I do not want to authorize this level of violence and destruction because of the long-term implications that it will have for the future of Iran. But if Qatar's LNG is again attacked, I will not hesitate to do so. Thank you for very much your attention, President Donald J. Trump. This entire situation is completely crazy, right? And so this is what happens when there's a war. There's this unpredictable craziness. And now you have, of course, Donald Trump as usual. Here he's now suddenly he's partnered with Israel. The reason we're there is Israel, is Netanyahu. And now all of a sudden, now you're not partnered. Now you're criticizing the group that was your partner. So now I guess that's over, at least for this 24-hour period. So this is what was reported, I think, early this morning.
And a rare rebuke of Israel from the US president. Donald Trump says he knew nothing about Israeli attacks on Iran's South Pars gas field, the largest in the world. The president posted on social media, "No more attack will be made by Israel on the area unless Tehran retaliates against Qatar," which of course shares the gas field with Iran. Oil and gas facilities came under attack from Iran on Wednesday, including sites in Qatar, the UAE, and Kuwait. Saudi Arabia says it intercepted 4 missiles over Riyadh as foreign ministers from the region met in the capital. CNN's Oren Liebman joining us now from Jerusalem. And Oren, I want to learn more, if we can, about what happened with the Israeli attack on the Iranian part of the South Pars gas field. What do we know? What do we understand? We've certainly heard from the US president.
Well, what we do know and understand is a rare criticism of Ben Netanyahu by Donald Trump. That's one thing that we absolutely know and understand.
Anything from the Israeli side?
Becky, before we saw President Donald Trump's response, we had heard from 2 Israeli officials that the attack was coordinated with the United States. And that, of course, is no surprise. Since the very first opening strikes nearly 3 weeks ago now, Israel and the U.S. have been coordinated on nearly every aspect of this. And that's not only a testament to the relationship between the U.S. and Israel at the political and military levels, it's also simply necessary to carry out these attacks with so many moving parts in the air, and in the sea all at once. So Israeli officials say the attack on the South Pars gas field was coordinated with the U.S. and it was.
So, okay, they say it was coordinated. Trump is saying it wasn't coordinated. Meanwhile, what does this mean in the United States? It means in the United States that we are going to be paying higher gas prices. That's what this means. It means in the United States that we're going to be going over $4 a gallon. I mean, we're already at 380s, 360s.
Gas prices inching up as the worsening conflict overseas sends new shockwaves through the global energy markets.
Oil futures have climbed over $110 a barrel for the first time since the conflict began after attacks on Iranian energy facilities and counterstrikes aimed at the world's largest liquefied natural gas export plant in Qatar. Fox 4's Casey Stiegel is live tonight with local impact. Good evening, Casey.
Good evening, Peyton. Good evening, Steve. If you've been to one of these lately, you know what we're talking about here. Gas prices in the state of Texas have gone up by more than $1 in just the last month. And with strikes now targeting critical oil infrastructure in the Middle East, we may be in for just the beginning.
The price at the pump climbing.
It used to cost me like around $40, $50 to fill up. Now I'm paying like 80.
North Texans are feeling every cent.
Owning a business where I got to drive around the city all day is really affecting my bottom line.
The average price in Texas for a gallon of unleaded regular is hovering around $3.58.
$3.58? Wow, that sounds actually low to me. That actually sounds low to me. And that, friends, is what is going to bring this to a point of absolute, let's say, it's going to bring things to attention in the United States. And once you start hitting that $4 mark.
Lower than the current national average of $3.88. And for many,
trying to fill it up today would be almost, it would break my bank account.
Every dollar spent on gas is a dollar taken from somewhere else.
Like right now, I'm only able to put $10 in because I filled it up Monday.
A
lot of people too have trucks, particularly in Texas, and you know how truck mileage is.
Escalating conflict in the Middle East is to blame. For the first time this week, Israel has struck Iranian gas fields. Then Iran retaliated, hitting the largest NLG exporting facility in the world, located in Qatar. Perhaps most critical, last week's U.S. strike on Karg Island.
Yeah, so this is what happens during wars. It's unpredictable. Nobody can predict what's going to happen next. And anybody who says they can predict what happens next is not telling the truth. This thing, please hit the like button, is going to go on for a while. It's going to go on for a while. And the way this is going to happen is these unpredictable stories. Now you have the president, out on Truth Social last night, criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu, and we didn't know anything, and we didn't know that they were going to attack. Whether they did or not, we're still in this zone of having the problem of these gas prices. Whether you knew or not, or didn't know or not, the gas prices are going to go up and up and up. Okay, and then you've got the $3 billion you're spending on war every day. Another $1 billion is getting spent. That's another big problem. And, the gas price thing is what's going to push, to me, this thing over the edge. And it's getting harder and harder for certain administration officials to explain this thing. I mean, you can't explain it because every American that's got a car understands the implications of higher gas and $4 gas and $5 gas. Sorry, I got the sound off. So let's go
Taking
back.
questions. Hi, Mr. Vice President. Brett Cass with WXYZ here in Detroit. Thank you for taking questions. We're seeing gas prices here climbing at home, in particular here in Metro Detroit with what's going on with Iran and the impacts in the Strait of Hormuz. What is the administration doing to help keep gas prices down, and where do you see gas prices going here in the near future?
Well, the President of the United States has been crystal clear about this. Look, gas prices are up. And we know they're up, and we know that people are hurting because of it. And we're doing everything that we can to ensure that they stay lower. I will say, the president said this, and I certainly agree with it. This is a temporary blip. Okay. What happened under the Biden administration is the gas prices were high for 4 years. Gas prices are higher right now. And frankly, they're not even as high as they were during certain parts of the Biden administration because of what's going on in the Middle East. It's not going to last forever. We're going to take care of business. We're going to come back home. And when that happens, you're going to see energy prices come back down to reality. But in the meantime, we got a problem. We know that we have a problem. We're doing everything that we can to address it. A couple of steps that we've taken just in the last couple of weeks is that we actually worked with a lot of our allies all over the world who are suffering from this, frankly.
So interestingly, they cannot get out of a conversation without Joe Biden coming up, which is always hugely amusing because Joe Biden is, that's going to be an interesting argument when we hit 4.30 gas, 4.50. I want to see how they're going to bring up Joe Biden when that happens. But they're always the pivot to Joe Biden, no matter what the question is, by the way, on what topic.
They're at their highest point since October. Meanwhile, U.S. gas prices are at their highest point since October. That spike is threatening to undercut one of President Trump's main talking points ahead of the midterms. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze is here with more on that. Hi, Elizabeth. Oil is trading slightly lower today and stocks are up. What does that tell you?
Yeah, it has been fascinating, Diane, to see this correlation between oil and stocks that you and I have been talking about since this war started. Basically, what's happening here is there is a little bit of optimism in the market today that we could soon see at least some escorts happening that would get shipping moving through the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, 1/5 of the world's oil would typically flow through.
I don't know what she's talking about, but okay.
Through that strait. That is sending oil prices down. And in return, we are seeing stock prices up. So basically.
Yeah, let's see if the oil prices go down. Let's see if the oil prices go down. Even JD Vance is admitting it's a problem, but okay, let's see over the next week.
More than we are, because unlike the United States, where we've pursued an energy dominance agenda, you've got a lot of people all over the world who have focused on a lot of green energy scams, and they're hurting a lot more than we are. So as much as we got to focus on getting these gas prices down, the reality is overseas they're feeling it far worse than we did because we've taken the steps to protect.
Yeah, I don't know, but I really actually have no idea what he's talking about. What people understand is what they have to pay at the pump. They're going to understand that more than anything in this world. What you pay when you go to that gas station is going to be what's on your mind. And nobody cares about the geopolitical politics or green energy or any of this other stuff that they want to bring up as what I think is primarily a distraction. You talk about that all you like. It's all good. But when people go to the pump and they're paying $4 in gas, they're gonna feel that. They're absolutely gonna feel it.
9:32 right now. The war in Iran continues. Gas prices are spiking here at home in the U.S. According to Gas Buddy data, gas prices in Seattle are now above $5 a gallon. That is up nearly $1 higher than this time last year. Drivers in Tacoma are also paying about $5 a gallon. I talked to an expert about what people can expect next. Take a listen. This morning, we are joined by Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis with Gas Buddy. Good morning, Patrick. Thank you for being with us. Let's dive right into it. Is there any relief on the horizon when it comes to paying for gas, and how long do we expect these high prices?
Well, is there any relief? Let's start there. Not just yet. We haven't rounded that corner. Oil prices do continue to go up. New threats have been made against infrastructure in the Middle East.
Yeah. So once again, new threats have been made. I mean, there has been all sorts of destruction. You can see a lot of the videos of what's going on. And now Trump, of course, coming out and saying, hey, we didn't know that Israel was going to attack X, Y, and Z. We didn't know this was going to happen. We didn't know that was going to happen. Yeah. All right. Let's see how this plays out for the next week. And I have a feeling I'm going to be doing another thing on gas prices because this thing, it just keeps creeping up and keeps creeping up. Obviously past $3, and now you're into 350. Now we're at 380 in some places. It just keeps getting a little higher and a little hikes as airline tickets, because obviously any travel related industry, they're going to start to pass that cost down to the customers, because of course they want to make their profit margins, and for them to make their profit margins, they are going to continue to pass those expenses through to customers. And that's as logical as anything. So anybody who's going to the airport's already difficult because of the TSA situation. But what's going to happen next is people are going to be paying more and more and more for tickets, for airline tickets. And that gets really crazy at some point. Anybody who relies on frequent travel is going to certainly notice that that's going to be a huge issue. So the gas price issue, go back to Michigan in a second, it's going to have a cascading effect on several industries. Of course, the truck drivers is the other one. I mean, that's an obvious one. Truck drivers, Uber drivers, any delivery related service is going to be greatly impacted by the gas prices going up.
In Florida. Others say
Yeah, what a situation. Like if you're in some sort of industry, you have some sort of job that requires driving around a lot, this is a pain in the neck. Well, actually, if gas is still cheaper, okay, great. Great, Ronald. Let's see in another few weeks. They just blew up another oil field the other day. So let's see in another few weeks if it's cheaper than what was going on during Biden. This is of course the argument from the Trump administration. Things were worse during Biden, so nothing to see here with this $3.80 gas. Okay. Maybe you're right, Ronald. Maybe the Biden people are so much worse and none of this matters. And I get the feeling that they're going to go over the numbers that we saw during the Biden administration. I sure hope not. In fact, what I really hope happens is that Trump pulls out of the war in Iran. That would be fantastic. Okay. That would be absolutely fantastic. Pulled out of the war in Iran, the war that nobody can figure out why the hell we're there. And now we're getting all sorts of reporting on service members coming back here who were killed over what nobody freaking can figure out. Okay, but let's see what the number comes in at, because for anybody who thinks that it's going to stop at 530, I'm sorry, at 359, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I tend to think that that's not going to be the case. But because reason being that we see video coming back here of oil fields getting blown up. And when oil fields get blown up, you're going to get a spike in the gas prices in the United States. That's the whole point. They know what they're doing. They know how to hit our pain points.
Gas prices now, yeah, they are still climbing quickly as the war in Iran escalates. A lot of people asking now, could we soon see $5 a gallon at the gas pump? And what would that mean for the supply chain? NBC5's Randy Gyllenhaal is with us tonight. We have those questions. You went to the experts.
And Stefan, let me ask you first, do you remember what you paid last time you filled up the tank?
Definitely over $4. That was in the suburbs, though.
Over $4. Today, we did find gas above $5 a gallon in the city of Chicago, mostly the downtown stations. It is a possible preview of what's coming for everybody else. Current average in Chicago, $4.15, but prices have not shot up this fast since the 70s. And if it stays this high, prices for all sorts of things might go up too. A clear sign of the times as this BP in the Loop reaches $5.29 for regular.
Gas prices spiked up overnight.
Pump shock, this spot among the highest in the city, but it's up everywhere. Gas Buddy reports an historic spike, the line going straight up the same week the U.S. launched war with Iran.
usually $40 gets me a full tank, and I looked at my.
It was $3.79 like a week ago.
Yeah, we're like,
it's crazy.
yeah, we're so shocked. We're like, what the heck? I'm shocked right now.
Look.
Oh, so Ronald, maybe you're right. Hopefully, Ronald, you are right. I'm hoping you're correct that all this stuff about fighting terrorism and all works out, everything's cool, and we fought terrorism and beat up on whoever we need to, kill over in Iran. It's been spiking terrorism around it's all good. But let's see what happens. Let's see what the gas numbers are a week or so from now. Maybe you're correct. Maybe it all works out. Maybe this is the correct foreign policy. You never know until it's all over. You don't know during it. But hey, I mean, I'm just saying that when you blow up a bunch of oil fields, it's pretty predictable that the gas prices are going to spike even more. And who feels all of that foreign policy decision making are normal, regular, middle class Americans.
Gas prices are up. And we know they're up, and we know that people are hurting because of it.
Today, Vice President J.D. Vance said prices will drop once the administration's war effort ends.
But yeah, we've got a rough road ahead of us for the next few weeks, but it's temporary.
But more than gasoline, it's the price of diesel that skyrocketed well above $5.
Diesel is the fuel of the supply chain.
And UIC professor Koris Mohammedian says it'll raise prices up and down the supply chain.
Just raise your hand. You all know that actually just has gone up.
Something his students are already noticing, and Chicago in particular will feel the impact on trains, trucks, planes, and more.
Yeah, so anything involving obviously transportation, there's going to be a spike in that. And now, of course, not just the train tickets, of course, like I said, the plane tickets are going to be a huge issue out there. And that is going to be felt, again, by the average middle class American. So here we go with these normal, ordinary American decisions that have to happen, and people starting to make adjustments, obviously, in their lives to avoid having to fill the tank, avoid having to pay all this money to fill the tank and the gas and the whole thing. I'm telling you, this is the thing that is going to move the needle on the decision making about the Iran war, which, of course, was a war of choice, which, of course, was, in my view, an unforced error. And who pays the price for it? Who pays the price for it? Who pays the price for it are your ordinary, average American, middle-class Americans out there trying to make ends meet, trying to get from one point to the other and paying in gas. That's the group that pays for it. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this type of pressure, the fact that Vance went out there and admitted, hey, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the gas prices are up. Yeah, the gas prices are up. And so the fact that Trump last night criticized Israel, which is a very rare event, an extremely rare event, that to me is like the first step in the realization that this thing has to end sometime soon. It's the first step in the realization that this is untenable to most people, and you can't explain in one sentence why you are doing this and why this is happening. If you can explain a war to the American people, they might go for it. They might go for it. A lot of people will support it just to support our troops in a sort of, broad brush. I don't want to say a blind way, but in a way of saying, hey, we support the troops. And so even though the mission might be questionable, we're going to support this effort. You're not seeing that with this conflict in Iran. You're not. The polling is showing that this is not something that people are into at all. And doesn't surprise me because we already had a conflict in the Middle East some years ago, and that didn't work out too well. And nobody can really recognize, okay, well, why did we go through that? Why did we lose service members over that? What are we doing? So I do think that what is going to move the needle is people having to pay $4 gasoline, over $4 gasoline. Because then we start getting into rationing. We start getting into not taking as many trips and not doing the thing, not just the gasoline. Obviously, there is this cascading effect that all of that has, because these companies, they are determined not to lose any money, right? So that money, that extra cost that they have for fuel and for transportation and all the other stuff, the trucking industry is going to get hit very hard from this. And we're going to have to pay for it on the back end. That's just what it is. Whether it's the gasoline at the pump or the cascading effect of cost down the line, the American consumer is going to pay for it. And particularly if you have anything to do with travel, trucking industry is going to pay for it. The airline industry, anybody who has to fly any place, you're paying for that. On and on down the line. It just goes on and on down the line. Most of this country, of course, is rural. You need a car, you need a vehicle. You don't get to do public transportation as you get to do in most big cities. It's not just, okay, I'm going to ride a bike or whatever. You need a car. And a lot of companies need their vehicles, they need their trucks. The guy that was in one of the pieces that I showed worked at a sign company. So obviously, you work at a sign company, you put the sign in the back of the truck and you deliver it to the client. You're driving around all day. Obviously, your Uber drivers, your Lyft drivers, your taxi drivers, they're going to be greatly impacted. And the gas prices going up and up. The fact that Trump, for the first time, has really thrown Netanyahu under the bus in his communication last night, that would indicate that maybe the White House is starting to figure things out. They've got JD Vance out here admitting that, oh, that's right. Yeah, this is a bad situation. That's generally how they do not generally message that way. They generally pretend that, no, nothing to see here. But they're starting to drop that. Of course, is that there are some big, gigantic explosions happening at oil fields and attacks on oil fields in the Middle East. And so any logical person would know that, of course, you see these spectacular explosions happening in Iran, and it's kind of like, and the surrounding neighborhood there, that is going to have an effect on our gas prices. And that's just that's how that is all going to work. And everyone understands. And so Qatar's getting attacked. These people get attacked for a reason. And
launched a new wave of attacks targeting natural gas facilities as well as at least one oil refinery in the Gulf Arab states. Now, this is coming after Israel launched an assault on Iran's South Pars natural gas field. Now, this field is offshore in the Persian Gulf, and Iran shares it with Qatar. But it's incredibly important for the Islamic Republic because 80% of all electricity generated by Iran relies on natural gas. Meanwhile, Iranians use it for heating their homes and cooking food. This is crucial for Iran, particularly as its theocracy is pushed ever closer to the edge by a series of Israeli and American airstrikes that have.
So, at any rate, all that leads up to we're going to be paying more in gas, a lot more in gas, probably into the $4-5 range. I would predict that some people going to hit $5. I know that there's these outlier stations, particularly in the West, in California, where there are $5 already, but this is going to get worse before it gets better. And this is something, again, I think that moves the needle with the White House. One of the few things that moves the needle with the White House. And so, yeah, we did talk about President Biden's gas prices because they're still higher than what we have seen right now. The question is that position going to maintain? The other reason I talked about it too was that JD Vance, vice president, brought it up that, hey, we're still not as high as Joe Biden. Okay. Again, we have to wait and see where this goes. Hopefully it doesn't go higher than Joe Biden, but still, when you're blowing up refineries and blowing up oil fields, that would indicate that it could. This is Lauren Burke. Please hit the like button. This is Lauren Burke. This is Lauren Live. I'm on the East Coast. It's 8:44 a.m. I am a person who worked for 4 members of Congress, worked in state government in New York and Virginia, and I've worked in big media at ABC News and USA Today and others. The point is, hi, Mike, how you doing? When you're paying $575 in gas, this is something that this is untenable. This is untenable, and it's untenable for most people, even the ones that do have the money to pay for it. But what it's doing is take $1 out of your pocket for something else that you could be paying for in your life. And of course, this has a gradual cascading effect. That money that you're paying for more in gas, it is going to be felt on the back end. And we haven't even gotten into the industries that are impacted by higher gas costs. Because that's the other big factor here, transportation and everything else. Of course, he did try to blame Biden, and of course he did. That's their talking point. Again, with the costs going up and up, that's going to be a hard thing to sell. This is Lauren Burke. This is Lauren Live. I want to keep this to 30 minutes. Mike, thanks for joining. Thanks for the questions out there. I really appreciate everybody who chimed in, who threw questions out. Please hit the like button. I appreciate it. I'll be back certainly with another gas price episode. Again, this episode is really focused on the fact that President Trump criticized Israel, which is an incredibly rare thing, but I think that's attached to the fact that he is scared about the gas prices, as he should be. And the fact that J.D. Vance got out there and admitted that we have a problem is an indication that they do understand that something's up here. But anyway, this is Lauren Burke. This is Lauren Live. I'll be back soon with another thing on gas prices as the news would indicate. We'll see if they go up. Hopefully they don't go up. Hopefully they go down. Hopefully I don't have to do another episode on this, but let's see what happens. I'll see everybody very soon.
Get time.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I make sure that my legends get a payoff.
Totally do.
They get their money's worth.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren.
Independent media, you're kicking ass. Talking about sounds like Mondami. And I got two questions. Why wouldn't you just be endorsing him? And also, are you talking to Mayor Adams and the governor?
With respect to affordability, in my opening day remarks here in the House of Representatives, I was very clear that House Democrats were going to focus on lowering the high cost of living.
It's a negative commentary on a certain group of people for absolutely no reason. I actually don't think